if you've got a place in your house where you plug a bunch of stuff in and you wish that you had another outlet right next to the outlet that you've got, I'm gonna show you how to convert one outlet into 2 outlets, because I got a place in my kitchen where I need to do that. Don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Let's go change and get this done. Come on. So there's a lot of reasons that you may want to take and add an outlet right next to another one. Now this is different than taking and adding an outlet somewhere else. This is the easiest way to add another outlet. But whether you need more charging or whether you just need another outlet because you don't want to use plug strips and expand the outlet, it is safer to have more outlets there. In this location, I'm actually going to, the second outlet I'm going to put in is actually going to be a USB charging outlet, because sometimes we leave our phones here on the counter, kids will leave things and they like to plug them in and leave them charging overnight. So let's dive in. Like all of our electrical projects, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the power is off to whatever you're going to be working on. Put a tester in, go to the breaker panel. Now, I'm going to take the cover off of this outlet to show you what we're going to be looking at. On one side of the outlet box, there's usually going to be a stud. You need to figure out which side of the outlet that's on. There's a couple ways to do it. You can knock to find it, or if you have a wire or a nail, you can stick it in and see if you run into the stud. So there's nothing that way, but there is that way. First thing you want to do is remove the outlet. Always double check, make sure that power is off. Once it is, disconnect the wires. This outlet's still good, so I'm going to reinstall it. Next, we need to remove the box. Now this box is attached to the stud with nails. There's a nail up here and a nail down here. We're going to use our Sawzall to slice through the nails. Now when you do this, once you go through the nail, stop. You don't want to cut up in the sheetrock too far one way or the other, because you don't want to have to patch. You also don't want to stick your blade too far through the box, because there's sheetrock on the other side. You don't want to poke a hole in it. Now, so that you don't blow your hole out, what I'm gonna do is actually push the box. Now we're going to be fishing the wire back through the box, but we're gonna pull the box out. Again, be careful not to blow the sheetrock out or whatever kind of board this is. Look up in, make sure that you didn't damage the wire where you were cutting. So as you can see, this box nailed into the stud. We're not going to be able to nail this box into the stud, but they make what's called a remodel box or a cut-in box. It's got flaps on the side so that wherever the sheetrock or the board is, it draws it close and this sits flush so that you can retrofit and do what we're doing. The next step is actually to trace this box out and cut the exact size that we're going to need. Our objective is to not have to do any kind of patch from doing this. Once you get the box where it's going, you may want to put a level on it. Make sure that it's not going to sit weird. You're not going to cut above the tab, because the tab has to have something to hold on to. So you can see we're going to cut right through here. Get rid of this part. Feel behind where you're going to be cutting. Make sure that there's no pipes or anything that you could accidentally hit. Then you can use your Sawzall or you can use a hand knife. I'm lazy, so I'm going to use the Sawzall. And I always like to cut on the inside of the line. It's always easier to go bigger than it is to go smaller. Now, we're going to dry fit the box and see if it fits. Okay, so now, all right, I like the way that that fits, but I'm going to not put it all the way in yet. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get our wire back into this box. So we're going to poke a hole. They make access holes back here for this purpose. We're going to put our wire in. When you're screwing this in, those tabs are going to be moving forward towards the board or the sheetrock. As you feel it start to pull towards the wall, slow down, don't overdo it. So first I'm going to connect the ground wire. I'm going to need to make a pigtail for the ground wires. And again, a pigtail is just clumping some wires together and making extensions. So I'm going to tie into the ground wire and then bring 2 wires off, 1 for each outlet. I'm going to push this back in the box. I only need about 6 inches coming out of the box. So we'll trim this up. So we'll make a ground for each outlet. Now on the back of a GFI, you have a line side and you have underneath this sticker, you have what's called the load side. Now the reason they put the sticker on is if you are just installing a GFI and you have 1 set of wires, you put them in on the line side. The load side is designed that if you have other outlets downstream from the GFI, those need to be wired on the load side. So this outlet, even though it's sitting right next to the GFI, I need to make sure that it's GFI protected, and it is technically downstream. So I'm going to wire this new outlet off of the load side. So hook the wires up that are coming into the box that are hot when you turn the power back on into the line side of the outlet. The neutral or the white wire goes to the white and the hot wire goes to the black. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sticker off here and I'm going to take my jumper wires and I'm going to go from the load side of the GFI to the new outlet. My white will be over here, my neutral over here, and my hot over here. So first I'm just gonna hook them up to the back side of the GFI. Only need to strip about a 1/2 inch. Now that we have this wired up and our wires coming over, you can now put this outlet in the box if it makes it easier for you. Now, on your new outlet, if it were a regular outlet, you would wire it up the way you would any normal outlet. Since this one is a USB outlet, it is a little different because the wires just poke in the back. Now we're going to take our wires, push them in the back, fold them up like an accordion. If you'll notice up at the top where the screws into the box, see how there's some play there? That's because if you end up with 2 or 3 outlets in a box, you want to be able to move them over to make sure that they fit. See how that's not fitting? So I need to move this outlet over or this one over in order to make them fit close together. You see how that moves? Okay, then we can take this. Turn the power back on. So if you want to see if it's wired up properly, you can actually see how we've got power right there. When I push the test button, it cuts the power to anything down line. So if there was something plugged in here and there was a shock that happened, it would cut power to that and be protected. So this was a little bit more complicated than just replacing an outlet, but as you can see, I mean, it was a bigger project, so it took a little bit more time to explain. If you attempt this, make sure you're safe, shut the power off. If you're not comfortable doing something like this, but you still want to have 2 outlets, any electrician should be able to do this kind of project for you. If you do give it a try though, leave me a note, let me know if this helped at all. Thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, anything you need to do to be notified next time we release a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck. See ya.